Alright guys, you may not realize this, but this is now the third time I've tried to record this. I'm trying to learn a new program here, and well, it's been a little difficult with me. So anyway, this is lesson 6, and we're talking about 1, 10, and 100,000 more than a number. I want to talk about this title for just a second before we go on. First of all, it has the word "and" in it, which means we're going to have at least two things. If I look on either side of the "and," I see those two numbers, and in fact, there's this one over here. So there's three things that go with the word thousand. So when we look at the title, let me erase this and show you what it looks like. What we're really saying is that it's 1,000 more than a number, 10,000 more than a number, and 100,000 more than a number. To work on these problems, we're going to need a place value chart. I'm going to go ahead and draw one since I don't want to have one handy yet. And we can draw a place value chart pretty quickly. I know sometimes we complain in class that it takes too long, but it's really not that hard. And this time I'm going to do mine a little bit differently. I'm going to do it in a couple of big groups of 3, like that, and then we'll divide those up. I'll show you in a minute what that means. There we go. Is it starting to look familiar yet? We can call these, oopsie, I want to do one more thing. I'm going to put a line there, and there, and there, and there. There we go, that makes sense. And we can call this the 1, the 10, and the hundreds place. And this one, when we get over here, I just did something that I'm going to regret. Hold on. Yeah, the undo button doesn't work so well on this. Okay, 1, 10, and 100. I'm going to use this thing called a laser pointer instead. So over here, we're going to take a little bit of a shortcut. We know that this can be grouped into a group of 3. That's called a period. And the whole thing is called the thousands period. And we have 1,000, 10,000, and 100,000. There we go. And finally, this last space over here is the millions. And if you want to fill in this blank right here, this one's called the ones period. We put that in parentheses because we don't name that one, because it's already named right here in the ones place. Okay, so the title of this is adding 1, 10, or 100,000 more than a number. So let's come up with an example. For my first example, I'm going to start with this number right here, 3,112. There's my comma. Don't let me think I forgot. We can represent this number by putting what we call disks in the place value chart. So we have 2 disks in the ones place. We have 1 in the tens place. We have 1 more in the hundreds place. And finally, we have 3 in the 1,000s place. So what if I want to add to that number? I can move this up a little bit here, and we can say, okay, what is that plus 1,000? Okay, well, you know the algorithm. We can draw it like that, and we can say, oh, that's easy. 4, 1, 1, 2. But I don't quite want to do that. Instead, what we want to do is take this 1,000 right here and just add one more dot up here, like so. Then when we look at our number in our place value chart, we just count the disks. Let's get some stuff out of the way and look at what our answer is. So we'll draw a line here, and now we take this right here. Oh, I did that thing again, didn't I? Okay, so let's look at what's in our place value chart. There's 4, 1, 1, and 2. So we write our answer down here, 4, 1, 1, 2. That seems kind of easy right now, but we're going to start adding some pieces to this. So we want to look at it one step at a time. We can do the same thing by subtracting 1,000. Minus 1,000. And we can represent that in our place value chart up here by saying we want to take away one disk. Right there, let's take that away by just putting an X through it. And now we can represent our answer by saying there are now 2 in the thousands place. 1, 1, and 2. And I just realized I put a 1 there instead of a disk. I hope that's not going to mess anybody up. 2, 1, 1, 2. Or we would read 2,112. Okay, we added and subtracted 1,000 more than a number. Let's do 10,000 more than a number. Right here in our title, remember there's the 10 and the 1,000. They go together. 10,000 more than a number. So let's do a different number. Let's say we have 23,000. And we can represent that in a place value chart with disks. So we have nothing in the ones place, we'll leave that empty. Nothing in the tens place, we'll leave that empty. Nothing in the hundreds place, we'll leave that empty. But this time we have 3 in the thousands place, so we'll put 3 dots up here. Sometimes I'll use dots, sometimes I'll use numbers. I have 2 dots right here. And what if I want to find out what is 10,000 more than a number? There's that 10 and that 1,000. So this time, without writing anything down here, we're just going to think about it. Where is 10,000 in my place value chart? Well, these are ones, so it's not here, but I do see thousands. But I have 3 choices. 1, 2, 3 choices right there. So if I want to add 10,000 more than a number, I find the number 10 in the thousands. So this space right here will be 10,000 more. And I can show 10,000 more than a number by adding one more disk to that. So now we can see what our final answer is. We'll scroll up here a little bit. So if we wrote that out, we would say 23,000 plus 10,000 equals, and we look up here and we say, well, there's a 3 here and a 3 here, so we would write the answer 33,000. We could also back up and find out what is 10,000 less than a number. Let's clear some space. All right, I've got some space there. Now, what is 10,000 less than a number? And once again, we look up here and we say, well, we want to find the 10,000. But if I want less, we're going to make some of that go away. So this time, instead of adding a circle, we're going to take away a circle or a disk or a dot or a dash, whatever you want to call it. We could put stars if we wanted. I don't know about you, but I just looked at this one, and this kind of looks like either a ghost face or a monkey face. I don't know if it needs eyebrows or something, but we'll do that later. Right now, we need to look at our answer. So when we took away 10,000 by crossing it off, we're left with 1 10,000 and 3 thousands. And we can write that as an answer down here. We have 1 in the 10,000s place, 3 in the thousands place, and there's nothing in any of the ones, tens, or hundreds. So we'll put a 0 for each one of those. Now, you might notice that I left a space right here. What goes there? It's what we took away. And we took away 10,000. So there's 10 in the thousands. And we can do that with the old-fashioned algorithm, and we can say 0 minus 0 is 0, 0 minus 0 is 0, 0 minus 0 is 0, 3 minus 0 is 3, and 2 minus 1 is 1. Now for the last part. Let's clear some space and move on. Okay, our last section is 100,000 more than a number. So let's take a number like 200,000. Oh, I don't want to put it there. Hold on a second. Let's put it down here. 200,352. And we can represent that number in our place value chart using disks. So we'll put 2 disks in the 100,000s. There's nothing in the 10,000s place, so we'll leave this blank. And there's nothing in the thousands, so we'll leave that blank. And then we have 3 hundreds, 5 tens, and 2 ones. So we go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2. And we want to know, what is 100,000 more than that number? So we look around and we're looking for something in the thousands. No thousands here. Over here I have thousands and 100,000s. So if I want 100,000 more than a number, there's 100,000. So we can simply add 1 to the 100,000s. And we count up our answers. Now we have 3 here, so we can finish out our equation down below. 200,352 plus 100,000 equals 300,000 and then we have 352, and it's the same as here. There's 3, there's 5, and there's 2. So we add those up. 3, 5, 2. The last thing we have to do is subtract 100,000. So once again, let's clear some space. All right, so we had 200,352. And this time, oh, I forgot my dots. Put the dots in there again. 2, 3, 5, and 2. And this time I want to take away 100,000. What is 100,000 less than a number? And I can look at my place value chart, and I can home in on my thousands place and my 100,000s place, and I can say I need 1 less than that. And I can represent my answer down below. Looks like this. We ended up with 100,352, and to get that, we took away 100,000. So in part 2, we're going to look to see how to use this to fill in a pattern. What does 100,000 or 10,000 or 1,000 more or less than a number look like when we use it in a pattern? So look for part 2 before you try the assignment. That's all.